Many people don't realize how much money they actually need to travel. And what goes wrong is they start out by thinking, all right, they have enough, and then they have to come back to working somewhere. So never start out just because you think you have enough. You have to start out when you know you have enough cash flow, right? So that's the reason why I say when you have enough cash flow, you know that this cash flow, these revenue streams are going to give you money as you travel, and not that, I have a few lakhs, you know, I don't care how much you have, even if you have a few crores, they're going to end very soon if you really start traveling. You're going to realize that you enjoy things. You like to book a beautiful hotel, and that's all fine. But if you have cash flow, you can keep affording it on a recurring basis. So cash is trash, cash flow is king. That's the rule here. So Madhukar, I think if you have the cash flow thing, your worries about budgets will reduce to some extent. But if you still want to go that way, and if you want to talk about budgeting, then it's different answers for different locations across the world. But one of the biggest things that I can tell you is that you have to see what the locals are doing, right? And then just follow what they're doing. So if you see, all right, locals are going to this restaurant, just go to that restaurant. The reason is they might not have an English menu, but you have like Google Translate, you have all the tools that you need, man. But it's going to be like half the price, mostly just because they don't speak English. And secondly, it's going to be more friendly. They're going to welcome you more. It's not going to be touristy. It's not going to be, there's not going to be a filter on top of people. You'll see more local people there. But if you just cut down, let's say, for example, on your restaurant cost, you'll see that your budget almost becomes half, because one of the biggest expenses is eating out. What I do is I have an apartment right now. I have a small kitchen right there. So I cook my own meals, which is also because I'm sort of doing a fitness plan. So I cook my own meals, and that works really well for me. But if you're eating outside, this is one quick hack that you can use. The other hack that you can use is, of course, you have to travel light. If you travel light, your flight tickets are much cheaper than if you check in bags. In India, it's the same, because Indians need the check-in bags anyways. But Europeans, for example, all the cheap airlines in Europe would be much cheaper if you don't have a check-in bag. The third thing is when you're staying somewhere, you want to sort of book through local apps. So what I'm saying is Airbnb and all that is cool. But let's say if you're going to Indonesia or Asia, you want to go to Traveloka or some local app which is popular there, and then book through that app, because that's going to be cheaper than the international apps. The price of the same place is going to be cheaper. If you're looking for long stay, like I'm staying for a month here, and it's around $1,000 on Airbnb for a month where I'm staying. I'm paying around $600 because I just skipped the whole Airbnb process. What I do is I book for a few days on Airbnb, because then they get a review, which is good for the host. And then I just talk to them, I know all the commissions. If I'm booking from booking.com, I know booking.com slots are 15%, 20%, or 25%. So that's the commission that booking.com charges. So I know if it's a place for 1 week, they're giving me the place for $100. I know that 15% or 20% is going to booking.com. So that's the discount I can get if I go and book directly. I talk to them and I say, hey, I'm going to stay here for 1 week. Why don't you give me 20% off, because I'm not going through booking.com. Plus, I will pay you in cash, so you don't have to pay tax to your whichever government. So why don't you give me that discount? So overall, the price of a